Here only I should answer the question of my friend Ravindra Holla, who had asked how the four Vidyas of Kautilya are accommodated in the 18 Vidyasthanas. Is it not? In the 18 Vidyasthana scale, what all we have, they can very well be accommodated, and they are, of course, in the four Vidyasthanas or Vidyas of Kautilya. Trayi includes all the Vedas and, of course, the Vedangas also, and even the Itihasa, Purana, and then Agamas, and all that the knowledge brought forth from time immemorial is included in Trayi. And Anvikshiki, analytical nature, and there we have the philosophical inquiry, the darshanas I told. All the darshanas come into the inquiry aspect, and that is Anvikshiki. And Varta, we have some of the Upavedas, for that matter, the Ayurveda, the Upaveda of Rigveda, or the Sthapatya Veda, Upaveda of Atharva Veda, they all come into the material resources, and there it is Trayi, Varta. And Dandaniti, of course, law and administration, polity, they all come under the one heading, that is the Artha Veda, the Upaveda of Yajurveda. In that sense, the four Vidyas, Chatusraha Vidyas of Kautilya are included, can very well accommodate the 18 or 14 Vidyasthanas. Rajashekara wants to add Panchami Sahitya Vidya, a 10th century scholar, poet, and a polyglot. He says Sahitya, literature is the fifth Vidya, but that can as well be accommodated in the third Upaveda, that is the Gandharva Veda. Well, why I am saying, to be specific, we can go on adding any number of knowledge sources into this list, but we have to consolidate at the same time. But too much of consolidation creates confusion. Here we have to forge a balance. And to forge a balance, it's very difficult, for it is too subjective. Again, to whom we are going to forge this balance, at what time, at what place we are. Any samanvaya has to take place with reference to spatio-temporal constraints. The absolute samanvaya is there, and that is Satchidananda. But the relative samanvaya is needed for people like us. Where we are working in duality, we need a working samanvaya, not the absolute samanvaya. See, Advaita cannot come to our help in Vyavahara. One great Shatavadhani of Andhra Pradesh was there, Madhvashri Kashi Krishnacharya, very great erudite scholar, very witty man, having knowledge of so many things. In late 19th century and early 20th century he was, and he was the second court poet of Andhra Pradesh also. And he, in one of his Shatavadhanams, was asked how to relate Advaita, Advaita and Vishishta Advaita. He says, the import is like that, Dvaitamu lubdhaka sukhamu, Advaitamu chaurulaku sukhadam appudu, sukhadamu galgunu eppudu. Dvaita is very comfortable to a miser. My wealth is my wealth. My wealth. I cannot share with anybody. So mine is mine. It cannot become others, like that. So that is a miser's way of approach, is Dvaita in nature. And a burglar's way of approach is Advaita. His wealth or my wealth, no problem. Whether me stealing or he losing, it's all mithya maya, like that. And the Vishishta Advaita is for the travelers. The fellow traveler, both are moving, both belong to each other. Though they are different, they belong to each other. If he gets food, he will also share with me. If I get accommodation, I have to share. Like that, we will be having that workability is there, like that. So, this workable definition has to be forged. Somehow we have to manage. That should always be possible. And Sanatana Dharma has done a lot towards that. Understanding this is very important. Basic philosophy, it can be given. Of course, it's also very difficult, but at the same time, it can be given. But how to apply that, that's very, very important. That's why it is said, DVG in his Mankutimana Kagga has beautifully said this. Ramaniya kavindu bisusuya ladu kavite bhumigada netikusive nembesaka rajyakate. Sorry, this is from his Sahitya Shakti. Just aspiring for beauty and creating beauty in words, sound and other things, that is the nature of art. And trying to manifest that for the benefit of the common man is the nature of a statesman, is the challenge of a statesman. Bhumigada netikusive nembesaka rajyakate. Amula madaraviva narasaladu vijnana. Going to the fundamentals is the nature of science. And samagradim parikisal kaduve tattvajnana. And synthesizing everything and reflecting that in experience, that is called philosophy. He says in Mankutimana Kagga, Parijatada kathaya henadu triptanahanu kavi, ಊರಿನ ಉದ್ಯಾನಕದ ತಂದು ನಡೆಸುವ ಧೀರಕನು ರಾಜ್ಯಕನು. A poet is satisfied just by composing beautiful poem on Parijata. You know, the flower and the tree. That was a heavenly flower and tree. And Krishna, when he went along with Satyabhama, because of the desire of Satyabhama, he had to bring that to the mortals. And this beautiful poetry and how husbands are compelled to work according to the whims and fancies of their beloved. That's the essence. And that poetry is wonderful. But a statesman tries to plant such trees in the gardens and in the parks of the city and tries to make the people feel the ambience of that, the flower of that. So, Sanatana Dharma has given emphasis to both Tattva and Prayoga. Tattva should always be absolute. Prayoga is always at the immediate level. So, one is absolute and other is temporal. One is eternal and other is temporal. It will always be there. Here comes Vastutantra and Kartratantra. And here we have the Samanvaya, the synthesis between the Nirguna and Saguna, or the Advaita and Dvaita. So, I am never disturbed by the conflicts of Dvaita and Advaita. That is the idealism and spiritualism, or the, idealism and realism, spiritualism and materialism. For the simple reason, they are not eternally opposed to each other. We do find their harmony. We have to be rooted in spirit and reap the flowers and fruits in the flesh. Here, the four Upavedas are Ayurveda, the Upaveda of Rigveda, and then Arthaveda, that of Yajurveda, and Gandharva Veda, coming to the Upavedic section of Samaveda, and finally Arthaveda, Sthapatya Veda, that is the Upaveda of Atharvan. Ayurveda, of course, it is the science of medicine, but it has included so many other things. Certain amount of botany is included, and certain amount of zoology is included, and certain amount of chemistry is included. Not to speak about the branches of chemistry like inorganic and physical, like that. So many other coming to picture because of the materia medica. You have botany, zoology, and chemistry coming to picture. Like that, so many other knowledge sources are included there. I shall give greater detail when I come to Ayurveda. Specifically, now it is only a broad-based classification and one-line definition and detailing of that. Then in the Arthaveda of Yajurveda, it is the science of polity, administration, economy, law, order and other things. And then we have the Samavedic Upaveda, that is Gandharva Veda. Gandharva Veda includes all fine arts. Gandharvas are supposed to be the people, demigods or whatever you call. They enjoyed dance, music and other amusements. So Gita, Nritta, Vadya, these three put together called Sangeeta. Nowadays Sangeeta means only singing, but earlier it used to include the dance also. Geetam principally means vocal singing, and Vadyam, that is instrumental. And Gita naturally includes the lyrics also. And in the lyrical section, we have all literature. And literature can be of three kinds. That's prose, verse, and song. I told about that. In the Prabandhadhyayas, we have so many things in our Sangeeta Shastras. Even prose can be melodiously recited. We have the Dandakas, a vague form of metrics, or we have the Gadyas, the Churnikas, and other things. And then we have the Padyas. I told about these differences when I was talking about Rik, Saman, and Yajus. Then we have the dance. There we have the abstract one called Nritta, and the emotive thematic one called Abhinaya, or we can call Natya. Abhinaya is everywhere. So Natya is thematic representation of dance, and then the abstract representation of dance is called Nritta. Just the body articulation, that is Nritta. And then we have the painting also coming to picture, sculpture, Shilpa. And Shilpa is one such generic term. We have so many things included in Shilpa. Vijnanam Shilpa Shastrayoho so says Amarakosha. Vijnana means Vishishtam Jnanam Vijnanam, qualified knowledge, special knowledge, that is Vijnanam. Jnana is one, the absolute. That is that which liberates, the ultimate jnana, nirvishishta jnana. And savishishta means the qualified knowledge of the whole world. And shilpa means shil dhatu, that is the root of shilpa. Anything which molds our personality, our life, our living, our character, all that is coming under the heading of shilpa. Then we have these the fourth Upaveda, that is the Sthapatya Veda. Sthapatya is connected with architecture, and there the corollary of that, the auxiliary of that, we have mathematics and physics. Without physics and mathematics, we can't think of any structure. And so it goes on. So many other basic sciences are included, physical sciences are included there. And then we have the six Angas of the Veda. The Angas are meant for learning the Veda, especially understanding the meaning of the Veda. And here, the Anga literally means the limbs. And I have to bring in some beautiful concepts that have been developed in our tradition. When I was referring to Dr. Illa Ravi's passage, you would have seen when we are looking at the culture, when we are looking at the achievements of a culture which is distanced, which is separated by a very vast period of time, we should be much more compassionate and more generous in the sense, not unduly generous. We should be more compassionate and pertinent enough to know the challenges and difficulties which those people have taken and have faced and all that. Here, our ancestors, they had a wonderful approach of personifying so many things. This is not seen in the Judaism. In the Semitic religions, we don't see this. Only in the pagan religions we see, especially in India we see. Every learning has been personified. Where the beauty is trying to internalize that. The Veda Purusha is the personification. Veda Purusha has 6 limbs, 6 main organs. Shiksha, the science of utterance, phonetics, and then pronunciation, and that is the very nose. Shiksha is nose of the Veda Purusha. And then Vyakarana is the mouth of the Veda Purusha as the grammar. Means Veda, when personified, its mouth is grammar and its nose is the pronunciation, Shiksha. Without proper pronunciation, we can't communicate. Instead of saying Palahara, if we say Palahara, the meaning is entirely changed. Pala means meat in Sanskrit. Phala means fruit. We have so much of difference. Not to speak about so many such things found in the common day-to-day affairs also. We say Adara and Hadara. What amount of difference in Kannada? Like that we have in English also. Many things. And then Vyakarana. Grammar is very, very important. Without grammar, We can't analyze any structure, any sentence, any structure for that matter. And we know the beauty of grammar, the implications of the grammar. Though an offshoot discussion, many people have a big challenge of teaching their children, how to teach them, how to educate. I honestly feel, though I have not taught any child, there my basic difficulty and my basic flaw is there. But after many years of understanding and interacting with teachers and having taught many teachers and many students at different levels, and always thinking about such issues, what I felt, for about 2-3 years, it is better not to teach anything to the child apart from mathematics and grammar. Means language and mathematics. These are the two most basic expressions we need. In both, we have accepted certain things, and based on that, we do marvels. Numbers we accept, signs we accept, plus, minus, division, subtraction, signs, integration, all such things we accept, and then we work out the relationship between the numbers we accept and work out. So also in grammar, we accept the words as they are. Why cow should not be kavu? We don't say, we don't question. Instead of COW, why can't we say CAUVU, kavu? We don't say. Very similar sounding, we don't want. So we accept the words as they are and try to establish the relationship, and at the level of sentence only we think, not at the level of word. Come means, hey, you come now here, all that is men. Go means, from this place you go out, you wretched person. All these things may mean. Oh means, oh, this is very, very good, this is very, very sweet. All these implications. So any expression, though it is at the level of monosyllabic one, it has a sentence behind that. So Vakya Spota is the real spota, that is the real bursting out of the meaning in Indian grammatical context, especially the different schools of Indian grammar, they opine that. And so it is complete. The subject, object, kartru, karma, everything goes together. It is implied. And hence it is very important for communication. Even to think, even to communicate with my own self, I need language. Can we think without language? Just you think for a while, you'll be understanding. We need a language. And better the language, better is the thinking. See, if you don't have mathematics, it will be so difficult for you to think some addition and subtraction and some thing, some manipulation. For example, you have to calculate the distance between Bangalore and Hyderabad. You need mathematics. Like that, according to the language, your thinking capability improves. If you don't have specific words, how hampered will be your thinking? You can know. If you don't have a specific word for one expression, you have to pull out so many sentences. In spite of that, the communication is ambiguous. Hence, choicy words, they will always have sharp and precise way of communication. For that, improving one's own word lore, this is very important. Likewise, logic is in mathematics. Mathematics is the best logic. So, expression and logic, they go hand in hand. And that's why in Indian tradition it is said, Kanadam Paniniyancha Sarvashastropakarako. Kanadam means the logic, Paniniyam means the grammar. Both are very, very useful to all systems of learning. And if you go to the past masters, not of the remote past, even of the recent past, just see, a person like Lokamanya Balagangadhar Tilak was a wonderful person, adept in both mathematics and grammar. You take any such luminary in any subject they would have had. They would have odd combination. The odd combinations ultimately percolate and come down to this. So grammar is very important. In schooling, if emphasis is given to these two, much of the problems are solved. But unfortunately, we have given so much of emphasis to so many peripheral, superficial things. Naturally, that is the way of exploitation. Unwanted edifice is built without any foundation. We need these things. very good grammar and mathematics. And generally, students will be very weak in these two. Always problems crop up in these two subjects. People are unable to understand grammar or mathematics. And then naturally in engineering all they will fail miserably because of this. I am good at this, good at that, but not in this means finally you scratch. Skin deep is the truth. You get it. So is grammar. People bother so much regarding communication. Ultimately, communication problem is in grammar. If you think clearly, pertinently between the relationships of karta, karma, you'll be knowing subject and object, how and all. Different cases, you'll be knowing clearly, you'll be knowing. Like, if you understand the karakas, the core of grammar, you'll be understanding so much about the other aspects of sciences also. Matter, anything, if it is capable of moving freely, it can move in 6 directions. 3 directions, x, y, z axis, and then rotary movement, the linear movement in 3 axes, and the rotary movement along the 3 axes. Apart from that, we don't have the 7th. Like that, we have only the karakas, means matter can have free movement in 6 directions. So, matter can be connected to anything in 6 ways. The kartrakaraka, karmakaraka, sampradanakaraka, apadanakaraka, adhikaranakaraka, like that we have karma, kartrakaraka, karmakaraka, karana, sampradana, apadana, and adhikarana, like that we have. So, all this, what it means, clearer and logical way of understanding existence and action. Satta and kriya means matter and movement. Movement is one of the properties like that. So here grammar is so important, and that's why it is the very mouth of the Vedas. And then we have the etymology, nirukta. The meaning behind the word. Grammar tries to show the relationship between the words, but etymology, nirukta, tries to show the meaning hidden within the word, going to the root and then finding out. We need that how a word has developed and what is the history of a word. All these things are wonderfully given, and many times the same word will be used in different contexts, in different sciences. Why it has been used like that? All this will be known in Nirukta. To give one example, I can just say the Veda word. It has come from Vid, Jnane, and then one more is Vidl, Praptav, attainment, like that. The two dhatus are there. From then we have that. And I told the shloka, the Vyakarana Karika shloka, Sattayam Vidyate Jnane Vetti Vinte Vicharane, like that. So that is the etymology. Dharma is dharane, dharana dharma, like that. Somebody asked where to get all these meanings. Of course, the Dhatupata is there. Dhatupata means it is the complete text of all the fundamental dhatus, which are over 2000 in Sanskrit. In the Dhatupata, we have the meaning Bhu Sattayam, like that, Ramu Kridayam, like that. For every dhatu, we have the meaning, and we can know as well. The dhatu Deva has several meanings, 6 meanings. Divu Kridayam, Kanto, Devane, like that. Divu means dice playing. Even gods play dice. Unlike Einstein's gods, our gods play dice. And then Devana in Sanskrit means dice playing. Devana also means screaming, becoming turbulent, and feeling sorry. All these are the meanings. And also Leelayam, Ananda, enjoyment, and light, delight, bliss, Jnana. All are the meanings. So accordingly, we have those etymologies, and the words are used. And then we have the other one, that is the Chandas. Etymology is the ear of the Veda Purusha, and Chandas is the very feet. Chandas is metrics, prosody. The danceability of language is seen in prosody, and that's why Chandaf Padautu Vedasya. Like that, we have the Veda Purushas 2 feet are the meter. And then Kalpa. I'm sorry, we shall go to the eyes. That's Jyotisha. Jyotisha means the heavenly bodies, the luminaries in the sky. And that is the eye. They are the eyes of the Veda Purusha. Here we have both astronomy and astrology. In the Vedic texts, we have little reference to astrology and much of astronomy. Astrology is a self-sufficient science. It has no basic, astronomy is a self-sufficient science. It has no basic assumptions apart from the numbers and other things. But astrology has so many assumptions. The nature of the grahas and the phalas, they are all assumed. It is one type of, rather I should say, a soft science. Some assumptions are made, accordingly it works out. It has its own good and bad. I need not deal much on that because it is not the essential feature of Indian culture. So we are more bothered about the foundations of Indian culture. It comes after the superstructure. Well, then the other aspects of Jyotisha, the astronomy, is very much needed because in the Vedas we have many references to stars and Vedic acts have to be performed at specific times. For that we need the astronomical calculations, and Indian mathematics has developed only because of that. In the beginning itself I told some of the anomalies in our culture. We developed mathematics to such a great extent, including calculus before Newton and Gauss, but we didn't apply it to the terrestrial bodies. We just marveled with the celestial bodies, but not with the terrestrial one. I have to find out the answer. I don't know the answer. I have to yet to search for that. Well, then we have the Kalpa. Kalpa is the most bulky portion of the Vedangas. Kalpa means Kalpante Vedaha. The Vedas are accomplished because of this. Any accomplishment is an activity, more activity based, that is Kalpasutra. There are 4 in nature. The family rituals and family practices, they are enshrined in the Grihya Sutras, and the social and political order is established in the Dharma Sutras, and even the duties of the individual and are more broad based than the Grihya Sutras, that is, we have the Dharma Sutra, and then the sacrificial altar construction and the mathematics behind that, all that is given in the Shulba Sutra. Shulba in Sanskrit means rope. The rope was used as a tape to measure the distance, and based on that distancing measurement and other things, the altars were constructed. So for the sacrificial purposes, we have the Shulba Sutra. And Shauta Sutra, the bigger text, that entirely deals with the art and science of sacrifices, how the yajnas are performed, how many people are needed. It's a sort of religious management and handbook. And here, the Grihya Sutra and the Shrauta Sutras, they come to one unit, including the Shulba Sutra, they come to one unit of ritual. But in Shulba Sutras, we have great lot of mathematics also. They go in hand with the Sthapatya Veda, the Upaveda of Atharva Veda. We have so much of religion and so much of secular learning. It is very difficult to separate. Do we need to separate? Many times I have thought that we need not. If we have a sense of understanding, that is enough. We need not separate again and again. The whole worldly experience is an amalgamation of so many things. We need not be too critical regarding separating it and finding out. Many times by separating, we will not be having any enjoyment and use at all. For example, the musical sound, according to physics, is noise. Yes, it's not simple harmonic in nature. You study the wave pattern of any flute or any violin of any wonderful musician. It's not that regular. It has its own irregular patterns. But can we bear with simple harmonic sound of a tuning fork? Horrible. So trying to go as a perfectionist many times ends up in boredom, futility. purists are many times frustrated people. So this amalgamation is the nature of world, and hence the scientific, the secular and the religious attitudes, they go hand in hand. We shall have an understanding and awareness of that. That's all. And one need not emphasize repeatedly. If there is a situation of crisis, we can denote that and show it. If not, it will go on. For example, we say that parishechana means circumambulating the food with water in the palm is one religious act. But the pseudo-scientists have come to the forefront now. It is to avoid the insects coming into the plate. Yes, books have been written like that. And even the Rangavalli in front of the entrance, it is meant to avoid insects because it is made of rice flour, and so the insects which come, the ants and others, they eat away and go, they will not come into the home. Why not? They don't know your logic. Plenty of food is there, so we shall rush into it. Like that. Why not? And on the days of Shraddham, no Rangavalli has to be decoratively presented. And on the days of Shraddham, along with the Shraddha Brahmanas Nimantrana, the uninvited guests, can they come as Pitra Devatas? All the insects. And in circumambulation, the Parisheshana Kriya, only an Upanita who has been given the initiation, he can perform. That means the women are not allowed to. And Anupanitas, men are also not allowed to. Means any insect can freely enter into their plates. Then what? No. It has no science. It has only feeling. And we have to understand in religion the element of feeling. We do have the elements of feeling. Without feeling, no religion will become religion. Feeling means it is a symbolic representation. Symbolic means you should not elaborate too much. And you should not exploit materially too much. In Kannada, we have one phrase often and often going in religious practices. Ad sumne shastrikke ashte. That's all. Shastra means in little quantity. Don't mismanage things. Don't misuse many things. These are some of the important features. What they mean, religion is the symbolic, emotional representation in a most artistic manner relating to the spirit. Hence, it will always be short and sweet. Too much of elaboration will not be there. General practice. There may be some special things. All abnormal people are special. So, special things are there. We can keep them aside. For example, we have the gods being invoked, avahana, and then worshipped, and then they are given a farewell send-off. That is Visarjana. That is Shodashopachara Puja. We have the near approaching Ganapati festival, Vinayaka Vrata, Varasiddhi Vinayaka Vrata, avahana, welcome. And then Padya, washing the feet. Then Hastodaka, washing the hands. And then Achamaniya, washing the face. And then Asana, offering a seat. And then Alpopahara, it is light snacks or coffee. A new guest is coming to your place in the wee hours of the day. You welcome. That is Avahana. And then you show the toilet. There we have Padya, Hastodaka, and Achamaniya. And then please take your seat. In 1 minute I shall come with coffee or tea or whatever of your choice. That is Alpopahara. So Avahana, Padya, Hastodaka or Arghya, and then Achamaniya and Asana, and then Alpopahara. 6. And then Snana, showing the bathroom, giving a towel or soap or some such thing will all be included. After the Snana, we have Anulepana. The perfumes or whatever, you need talcum powder, something are all given. And then Vastra, dresses if you have any, or they would have brought. We are so generous enough to offer dresses also. And then inquiry. How is the thing going on and what are you doing and what has happened? All these informal inquiry And of course, we are praising and showing our happiness that your arrival is so enjoyable and we are really blessed and all that. That is stotra. All that your Angopachara, Anga Puja, or Ashtotra Shatanama Puja, or Sahasrama Puja, or whatever Laksharchana, it comes according to the intimacy and according to the returns, whatever you expect from that person. According to the expectation from the gods, accordingly you do Laksharchana. Oh, normal means Ashtotra Shatanama. Some more problem means Sahasranama. A greater problem means we need many more Utsavas. And then we have the Dhupa, Deepa, showing the light, and then the Aarti, of course, that one. And then we have the Naivedya, the grand dinner, or grand lunch, heavy lunch, whatever. And then we have the Tambula, and then Suvarna Pushpa, Mantra Pushpa, Purassara Puja. Just giving a gift, small gift, token of gift or some such thing. And then we have the Atma Pradakshina, Namaskara, and Visarjana. Well, we are really blessed by your presence and arrival. Be coming like this, and then goodbye. So, don't we find so much of a realistic but very beautiful, intimate acquaintance of humanism in worshipping gods? It is done in a formal way. Unfortunately, in formality, the emotion is gone. If emotion is dominating, formality will be lost. See, these things, if they are told in Kannada or in any vernacular language, regional language, or any language down to earth, any earthly language of day-to-day use, they may lose that fragrance. See, it becomes so odd and so clumsy at times. In the Agamas and all, we have even the gods being offered the brushes and also the paste. Dantadhavana churnam samarpayami, dantadhavana kurcham samarpayami. Dantadhavana kurcha is the twig or the brush, and dantadhavana churna is the powder, paste or some such thing. Devare, hallu jyoti kaddi isko, hallu jo pudin taka. We laugh at it. But Gandu Shodakam Sarpayami, to rinse your mouth, to gargle, I am offering water. In English itself, it looks so clumsy. Not to speak about the regional language. In English, even today, it is an alien language. And that's why, whenever we want to know where is the restroom is an euphemism. Clock room is an euphemism. Toilet is an euphemism. They go well in English because it's alien one. ಅವ್ರು ನೋಡಿ ಯೂರಿನ್ ಸ್ಯಾಂಪಲ್ ತೊಗೊಂಡು ಬರೋಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು. ಐ ಫೀಲ್ ರಾದರ್ ಹೆಸಿಟೆಂಟ್ ಟು ಅಟ್ಟರ್ ದಿ ಕನ್ನಡ ವರ್ಡ್. ನಾಟ್ ದಟ್ ಐ ಡಿಸ್ಲೈಕ್ ಕನ್ನಡ, ಐ ಲವ್ ಕನ್ನಡ. ಆರ್ ಡೀಸೆಂಟ್ಲಿ ಮೂತ್ರ ಪರೀಕ್ಷೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ವೆದರ್ ಸಾಂಸ್ಕ್ರಿಟ್ ಆರ್ ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷ್, ದೇ ಆರ್ ಕಂಪ್ಯಾರಿಟಿವ್ಲಿ ಏಲಿಯನ್ ವಿತ್ ರೆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ ಟು ಕನ್ನಡ. ಸೊ ವೆನ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಫಾರ್ಮಲ್, ದ ಡಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸಿಂಗ್ ಈಸ್ ದೇರ್, and we need a psychic distance to appreciate art. See, if you bring it too closer, it will not be seen. We need certain distancing. Yes, Rama would have developed beard in Vanavasa, but we need Rama who is clean shaven. Who summoned barber? Nobody knows. Who furnished the shaving set? None know. Even Valmiki was not aware that such question may crop up. But what it means, we need certain distancing. These are the poetical licenses which are taken, and they have to be granted. In religion, we have the element of art, and that is distancing, and that is formality, and that should not be too much. These are some of the wonderful things found in religion. It's scientific. Scientific means tenable to rationality and logic. I have given the logic and scientific nature of it based on the treating of a guest, even in this ultra-modern days of 21st century. The same thing is applied with the gods also, but at different way, different level, in a different level, at a different manner. So this is how we have these features of kalpa, the religious aspects. I shall deal with this in greater detail after the 10 minutes break. To the discussion, I was telling about the Kalpa Sutras. There I told about the Grihi Sutras and the Shulba Sutra and even the Shrauta Sutras. And I just brought out the beauty of religion and the tenable logic behind that and the emotion or the aesthetic appeal. It's a total experience, contribution of so many things, all that will be enjoyable. For example, in no marriage, it is said that the women should wear beautiful silk sarees and ornaments and move here and there in all jubileance. It's part of the beauty and glory. Likewise, so many added elements are there in ritual and religion. They all bring out something which is metaworldly in nature, extraordinary in nature. And that elevation is very, very important. That happens in worship. And that elevation, a person can bring in so many ways. Just by looking at the nature, he can bring in that elevation of his own self, or else by pursuing arts, or else by indulging in social work, or else in utter tranquility of silence, or whatever, without hurting anybody. There are so many ways of bringing elevation into one's own self. Religion is one such, and rituals are the main contributors there. And when we de-link anything with utility, it will have a wonderful meaning. See, I had told, I think, when there is sunrise, only when you have time and no other compelling work, you can enjoy sunrise. If you want to rush to your office, would you mind watching sunrise? No, you will not. What for sun rose? That is what you feel. So, when you are de-linked from utility, you can enjoy that. So also, a pot like this, what we call chombu in Kannada. Yenaitu parikshe chombu aitu. Means I need not explain the idiom. Such a thing, often considered to be inauspicious, when that is decorated with a few mango leaves and one coconut or any other purnaphala, and then smeared with the turmeric and kumkum, it becomes kalasha, purna kumbha, most sacred and most venerated, and it will be taken in front of a very illustrious person to welcome him, purna kumbha swagata. Once this chombu, the pot, is de-linked from daily utility, it becomes eternal. So, the sunrise, just to point out, 6:15 or 6:32 or whatever, generally during that time sunrise in India, as the beginning of the day, from that mundane activity, you de-link it, it becomes rise of consciousness. Ye udagan mahatornavat, like that the Veda says, it praises. And so also the rice, akki. As it is, if it is given, akki kaal baಯಿಗೆ ಹಾಕ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ವಿ. It's a Kannada idiom. Our ಬಾಯಿಗೆ akki bittu. Means at the end, final departing means we go with that. But if that rice, which can be as well cooked, if it is smeared with haldi, that is turmeric, it becomes akshata. Akshatan, dhavalan, divyan, shaliyan, standulan, shubhan, like that. It means it is used to bless one and all. So, de-linking some objects of daily utility from that mundane world, it brings an element of artistic enjoyment, and in religion it happens. And in the folk tradition also we see, for example, the Karaga festival that is well carried out in so many places of South India. The person who carries the Karaga will be wearing the women attire, starting from the Mangal Sutram, everything. For all the 15 days or so, the Diksha, he will be practically a woman, embodiment of Draupadi. So, it is imposing some other quality on me. That happens. In the Vedic rituals, the same thing happens. The Ritviks, 16 Ritviks in any yaga, they are there. The Hotragana, the Advaryugana, the Udgatragana, the Brahmagana, and the Advaryugana, they all have different names and they have to be called by that name. Aho, Pota, Neshta, He Neshta, Esha Ehi, like that it is said. Or Agnidhra, come, like that it is said. Means they are given different names. It is something like a drama, a quasi-drama. And even there, the Soma, the sacred creeper, whose juice is squeezed and offered 3 times as oblation in Somayaga, there is a purchase and sale drama which is done, Soma Harana and Soma Kraya Vikraya, something like drama, it is done. It's all entertainment. It happens even in village temple festivals. You go to any Brahmotsava festivals happening in any traditional temple, on one day, the god will be going on the Ashva Vahana, on the horse Vahana, and then he will be having indulgence with other women. That is what it is supposed to happen. And then the goddess, the Devi, she will be knowing, they can smell very easily, and they lock the door. And there will be beautiful conversation going on between the Lord and the goddess. Open the doors, I will not open. What for? Like that, it all goes. That way of bringing in lot of fun and drama happens there. Every aspect of our culture is so beautiful. So religion has much of art delinking from the mundane world, or bringing in some of the mundane world's elements in an artistic manner into the divine element. So it is a very, very complex web. And that is the amalgamation. I always give one analogy. If a friend of yours passes, or if a friend of yours gets a hike, naturally sweet is demanded. If he brings glucose packet in front of you and say, this is distilled sweet, C6H12O6, would you enjoy? It is not sweets that you intended, that you meant. You need a Mysore Pak or a Son Papdi. It's my preference, of course. We have that flour. And that flour is not of sweet taste. It tastes rather bitter. And then ghee has no sweetness. And then the cardamom, it has no sweet taste. And so many other things which are not essentially sweet in taste, they contribute for the sweet. And they enhance the sweetness within the quotes. The appeal is enhanced. And so is happening in religion and rituals. And that's why we should have a compassionate and judiciously compassionate and objectively compassionate look at these religions and ritualistic aspects. Then you can enjoy it and do it. And even the Shraddha, Pitra Shraddha. Again, the same thing happens. The forefathers are invoked in a human being like us, in flesh and blood, and even the gods of the Shraddha. And he is fed. And so getting the contentment that my forefathers are fed through him, like that. This type of, not that, yet similar to that. He is not that, yet he is that. This happens in drama also. He is not the Rama, he is N.T.R. Ramarao. Somebody is directing. These are not the words that Rama uttered. These are all scripted by Shatavadhani, Samudrala Raghavacharya. And Rama may be good at music. Valmiki too says, fortunately, Gandharvepi Bhuvish Reshtaha. But we don't know in which raga Rama sang. But N.T. Ramarao getting voice from Ghantasala, and Ghantasala is singing in Mohanam or Karar Priya or something like Kedara Gaudam. Like that. So many things which is not that happening, and yet we accept these things. But we should have a sort of acceptance that proportion is there. That should be there. Not just they are not that, they should not be entirely not that. Similarity should be there. If we show Ravana and say he is Krishna, we cannot accept. We don't know whether Krishna had mush or not, but our Krishna is clean shaved. We don't know in reality Krishna had peacock diadem on his forehead, peacock feather on his forehead when he went for Kuru Pandava Sandhi. Because Krishna, when he was a child in Gokulam, he would have had all that Vanamala and Gunja Bharana and the peacock feather, everything he would have had, and even the flute in his hand. But Krishna, at the ripe middle age, he went as an ambassador to the court of Duryodhana. In that time also, did he had all this? No, he would have not had in all realistic nature. But we cannot think of Krishna without that flute and peacock feather. So our Krishna is different, and yet he is Krishna. These are the things, artistic license which we have, and they are in religion and ritual, and that happens in our daily life. So this is a very complex thing, but we should feel it. If not, we will not be getting the intended elevation. Dry philosophy will not fetch any value. We need these things. But at the same time, we should know what the value fetches in the light of philosophy. So, without our knowledge, we will be working at different levels. How a commercial movie taking so much of liberty is appreciated even by very, very critical personalities, very, very critical minded people. So is this. And the religion and ritual has to be experienced like that. Hence, the Shulba Sutras, the Shrauta Sutras, and the Grihya Sutras, they go. In Grihya Sutra, we have the 16 samskaras coming into picture. I shall go to them in detail later. And then we have the Upavedas, the four more. One is Itihasa, other is Purana, and the third one is Darshana, and the fourth one is Agama. Agama can be as well connected to Shrauta Sutras, Shulba Sutras, and the Grihya Sutras, because Agamas are essentially temple traditions. People say, especially the modern scholars having the Western outlook, they say the Agamas are non-Vedic in origin, and they are the Dravidian writings, and Vedic people are different, and they never knew about the images of gods and the temple built around the images and other things. It is wrong. In the Vedas itself, we have the references to the personified features of gods, and we have references to iconography also. For example, Maitreyi Aranyaka and Maitrayani Brahmana and other things of Yajurveda, they do have specific references to temples and images. And in the Rigveda itself, we have the features, very clear features of gods, and a sage saying that I am purchasing Indra's image for such and such value of money, like that. Indra's image is being priced. That indicate that they have. And more than anything, image is also one symbol. Sacrifice is also one symbol. And appreciating nature as God is also another symbol. So, these symbols are eternally present, and temple tradition is no way different. And I can as well show people who are interested in knowing further that they can refer to my article, of course it is in Kannada, in one of my collections of articles, in one book called Hasu Bisu. There Devalaya Tattva is one long article, well referenced article. There you can see how the Vedic traditions are the bedrock of temple traditions too. In the Vedas we have three altars, the Garhapatya, Ahavaniya and Dakshina, like that, the three fires, sacred fires. Garhapatya Agni is placed in a circular altar, and then Ahavaniya is placed in a square altar, and then Dakshina is placed in a semicircular altar. These three representing Grahapati Agni, the Garhapatya Agni representing the earth, the terrestrial, and Dakshina or the Dakshina Agni representing the intermediate, and then the Ahavaniya representing the heavenly or the celestial abode. So these three levels of worship are done here. And in the temples also we have the three images. One is Moola Bera, that is the Garhapatya, and then the Utsava Bera, that offers that gets the maximum attention and maximum Utsavas, worships and all the fanfare, and that is the Ahavaniya. And then the Bali Bera, that is the intermediate, which is meant for the Bali offering. Bali means you need not think of animal sacrifice. Any worship is called Bali. And that is Bali Bera or Snapana Bera, or even it is called Shaya Bera. These three are there. Sometimes 5 are also kept. And even in the sacrificial altars also we have 5 Agnis. Apart from the Garhapatya, Ahavaniya and Dakshina Agni, we have 2 more, Sabhya and Avasatya, like that. So the 5 Agnis or the 3 Agnis are represented in the 5 images or the 3 images of the temples. And in the temple we have the Dvajastambha, and here in the Yajnashala we have the Upastambha, and in the temple we have the Balipita, and here also we have the Agnidriya Vinashana Vedika, and in the temple we have the canopy, and even in the Yajna Shala we have the Pragvamsha. Like that we have 100% match to show. Many details are there. Unfortunately, every detail, if it has to be given proper importance and all the basic references have to be given, it takes a lot of time. Because of the paucity of time, that's the only reason I'm skipping so many things. But I can give you the references. Stella Kramrisch has written very beautiful 2-volumed book called Hindu Temple. It's one of the earliest and the best book available in that sense. And also we have the 14-volumed book of S.K. Ramchandra Rao, the Agama Kosha. We have the temple traditions in great detail in English available. And if you want to know more about Indian iconography, we have the manuals on iconography also. The 4-volumed book of Gopinath Rao is there. And then the Pratima Kosha, 3-volumed Pratima Kosha. Earlier it was 6-volumed, now it is combined 3 volumes of S.K. Ramchandra Rao there. Well, then we have the Itihasa and Puranas. Itihasa, Iti-ha-asa. This was so, is it not? Iti, thus, ha, is it not? Asa, existed. Was the truth not like this? That is the meaning of Itihasa. Means, it is history, but it's something different. Again, I am saying it is like spirituality, saying Itihasa and history are one and the same. Like that, saying Tattva Shastra as philosophy. Philosophy is love for knowledge. But Tattva Shastra is something different. Tat Tvam, that nature. Tva means ness. You see, sweetness, something we call. Tat, that. That is the highest truth. The nature of that is Tattva. And the nature of that is nothing but my own self. That is Tattvam, that thou art you. That is the meaning of Tattva. So, the meaning of philosophy is different and the meaning of Tattvam is different, but they are taken as equivalents. What to do? Very unfortunate state of affairs. Better word is Darshana Shastra. Even there we have some discrepancies. Likewise, here history being called as Itihasa is very different. We say his story is history, the story of mankind. But in history, we don't have explicit philosophy. But in Itihasa, we have explicit philosophy, and that's why we have a different approach to history. In Indian tradition, one thing has to be noted, whether it is good or bad, it is its nature. That is, what it means to me. In that sense, we are very selfish people. By looking at anything which comes to our purview, we always take what is the use of that, what it means to me. Then it doesn't mean we are utilitarian. In the Western connotation, utilitarian has an entirely different meaning. What it means to means in which way it is contributing to Purusharthas. That is how it is seen. In our tradition, everything is associated with Purushartha. And that's why you see, you have the rasas. We call Navarasas, but technically in Bharata's work, Natya Shastra, we have only the reference to 8 rasas. Shringara, Veera, Karuna, Adbhuta, Hasya, Bibhatsa, Raudra. That's all. Ashtau rasaha. Shanta is not a rasa. It is the only rasa. Unless we have the touch of, the magical touch of Shanta, no feeling can rise up to the level of rasa. So, the detached, impersonal enjoyment of any mood or any emotion can happen because of Shanta. And the nature of detachment is provided by Shanta. So, that is how 8 rasas are there. Among the 8 rasas, only Shringara and Veera, they contribute to the Trivarga, Dharma, Artha and Kama, Purusharthas. Veera contributes to Dharma and Artha, and Shringara contributes to Kama. That's why it is said in our tradition, any work of art should take one among these two as the Angirasa, the main rasa running throughout the body of that art. And other rasas are not neglected, but they are Angarasa. They are subordinate rasas. They can be limbs. That cannot become the main body. It can as well be scientifically, rationally also verified. You look at our films. The major theme of our films is either love or adventure, action or love. And comedy is there, but comedy will be enhancing its beauty when it subordinates to love.